Hello everybody and welcome to the official teardown of Somnium VR1 headset. Today I'll show you how the headset is built, what are the components inside, how you should tear down the anchor points, and you will see all the internal parts of the headset and of course understand the logic how the headset has been built. I'm looking forward to that, so let's get started. Okay, for the first step, we will of course unmount the head strap and the face mask. That is pretty simple. We'll just do this. This is actually magnetically attached, and you can use it that way. And this will uncover us the main frame and of course the lenses, those gorgeous lenses. Here they are. And we will take out the top anchor point to unlock and take down the strap. And of course, we'll then unload the strap from the sides. So let's get started doing that. For the anchor points, we're using standard Imbus 1.5 screws. And I'll just start. Put it aside. Another one. Especially these anchor points is something you'll be doing quite often because the headset is built to be modular, so you are able to change the head straps for almost any other strap. It could be Vitalux audio strap or other straps on the market, depending on what you want. Of course, we give you our strap, which we think is great, but it's up to you. So here I have unloaded the upper anchor point. And I will pop out these side parts for the strap. And here we are. The strap has been loaded. We put it aside. And now we have the headset itself ready to be taken apart. Before we do that, before we go into the main frame, we'll actually do the side anchor points, the main anchor points which are holding the strap. Let's get started. All right, so you can see that we have one side anchor point unmounted, and this also uncovered you the internal structure of the anchor point, which is made to be rigid and kind of withstand quite a bit of pressure. But also it shows you the USB-C port, one of 3 USB-C ports. This is Gen 2 USB-C port with 10 gigabits connectivity and the speed and of course the power. So let's go to the second anchor point, which is on the left side. And here on this side, we have another USB-C and of course the headphone jack, because that's important. It is also good to remember that in the box, you will also receive a set of screwdrivers and also the screws themselves, so that in case you lose one, you'll have some more for the spare and for the exchange. All right, so here we go. This is the second anchor point, and you can see the structure of it. You can see that it's moving. It has exactly the right amount of pressure on the side. And here we have, as I said, USB-C and the headphone jack. And here are the vents outtake, and you'll be able to see that this is the airflow structure, so that the headset is very well cooled and never overheats. So now that we have all the anchor points of the headset unmounted, we will unmount the main cover of the VR1, which will of course uncover us the main board and many more interesting things. So let's get started. For this, we'll unscrew these 4 screws on the headset. But before we do that, there is just one small detail. There is a logo of VR1, which is magnetically attached to the screw which holds the main cover. And to do that, we'll just use any tool, maybe even your nails. Don't do that. And then you just take this out, put it aside, and then we'll start screwing, or let me say unscrewing. As I said before, the headset, the VR1, has been built with easy repairability and modification in mind, so that some of you, those who know what they're doing, could do some modifications to the headset. Of course, not everything is possible because some things are, you know, they need to be as they need to be. They cannot be modified, but many things could be, and that's where the modularity and easy repairability of this headset comes really handy. So let me just use this like this. So we have 3 screws out already and 3 more to go. I feel like I'm back being a kid and doing Lego. But this time, come on. Take a look. Okay, this will cut out, yes? Right. And then one more. Here it's good to hold the cover with one finger so it doesn't fall apart, because there are some flex cables which need to be disconnected in order to unmount this. So let us, oh, there's one more. So let's do the last one. Fantastic. So now we've got all the screws out, and we can gently disconnect this board, but be careful, there are flexes which are connected to the board. Here are those 2 flexes which we need to disconnect in order to fully unmount the front cover. Just be careful and make it very gently. One is disconnected, and then we'll uncover up very gently, and then you can just unplug it. Fantastic. So now we have the main front panel unplugged. Now these flexes are connecting the SteamVR tracking diodes, which make sure that your headset is being perfectly tracked, and these diodes should not be unplugged or messed around with in this headset, because by doing that you may actually corrupt the tracking, and the headset will not perform the way it should perform. Now there are many trackers inside here, but there's also many trackers inside of the headset on the other parts. That makes sure that your headset is being tracked from each direction. Each of those dots indicates that there is a tracker behind that dot. So you know where the trackers are, and you have full visibility in case you don't want to cover them with some accessories. All right, so now we have this cover panel uncovered, and not only we can see the tracking here, but we can also see the buttons. Those are 4 programmable buttons. Which are being used for, for anything you want in VR. I personally use those buttons for volume control and mute and unmute of the microphone, and of course, easy access to the mixed reality and virtual desktop. Just by one click of a button, I'm going to mixed reality, I'm turning on my mixed reality or turning that off. And of course, by one click of a button, I can see my virtual desktop, set up some things if I need while I'm in VR, and then I'm going back, and it's very handy. So we'll put this main cover aside. But before I do that, you can also see that this is an ultra-leap hand tracking module directly embedded here from the factory. And why is this important? This is not an add-on. This comes with your headset if you order the hand tracking version. And it's designed to have exactly correct angle, to sit at exactly right angle at the headset, making sure that the performance of your hand tracking is the best it could be and is designed to be. Okay, so look at that. Now we have the main board of VR1 uncovered. And of course, you can see those two 12 megapixel, really high quality cameras for the mixed reality. But not only that, you see the main board. This board has more than 1.3 thousand parts in it. And it's a very complex one. It took us a long time to perfect that. And we're actually very proud about this board. Here you can see the Somnium Space logo on the board as well. And we will start uncovering the and unmounting the flexes. The first two flexes which will be unmounted, those two flexes which are the main connectors for the cables, for the mixed reality cable and the virtual reality cable, which go to your PC. So let's do that. Okay, we disconnect this part. And we go here. All right, so we have disconnected those two cables. As you can see, they also have Somnium Space logo on it, and they are making sure that your headset is powered to the main board from the mixed reality part and from the virtual reality part. Okay, so now we're entering the interesting part. We'll be slowly disconnecting the flex cables from the main board so that we can take the main board from the main frame. And we'll start with those two small cables. These are making sure, and these cables are following where your lenses are to actually measure your IPD. So these two flexes will just take away. One, we'll disconnect them very gently. 1, 2, and these are the fence connectors, and we'll disconnect them as well. Okay, fantastic. Once we have this disconnected, we'll need to unplug all the flex cables from the main board. Make sure you don't forget to unplug any of those. So let's do that. So we have one here. These two, you don't need to, because these are the camera flexes, and they can stay on the main board because we'll take the whole thing apart. You will see a bit later. So we'll need to unplug these ones. With the tool. Okay, so now we have all the flex cables unplugged except of those two. These are for mixed reality cameras, and we'll proceed to unscrew the main board for the VR1s. Again, it's good to hold it with your one finger just in case it doesn't fly away or doesn't fall. All right. Okay, so now that we have it unscrewed and all the flexes are unplugged, we can take this part and take it out of the headset. Here we go. So let me put it closer. So here you see the main board again, now with the metal structural part, which is below that. It's being used for several purposes, for the structural integrity, of course, but also for the cooling purposes. And this structural part, with this metal, this is the magnesium alloy part to make sure that it's light, but also very rigid and allows the headset to cool well and also maintain the structural integrity of the main board. All right, so now that we have the main board ready, we are going to put that board aside. And we're going to take the main part, the main frame, and start disassembling it. Now, let's start with the inner main cover part, which also goes around the lenses. And there are 6 screws which will use this screwdriver to unscrew and unmount. So we have one here. Okay, so there are a few more screws we need to unscrew to get the mainframe out. So I'll proceed by doing Okay, so there's quite a hidden screw in between the IPD slider screws, which we need to unscrew and unmount. Perfect, that went out. So now once we have this screw unscrewed in the internal part of the headset, we can take the IPD slider button out. All right, so we have the button for the IPD slider out. So now it's an interesting part where there are clip-ons inside the mainframe so that the inner mainframe is holding very sturdy to the mainframe and the outer mainframe of the headset. What we need to do is we need to unclip those mainframe clip-ons with a little bit of power, very carefully, to be able to undo the inner mainframe. So let's do that. Okay, once we did that, you can see that there is the mainframe is going out, and you can gently start taking this apart. And the mainframe is out. So now we have those two parts. We'll put this aside for a second and let's have a look on the main outer frame of the headset. As you can see, there are tracking diodes directly mounted to the main frame. You should not mess around with those trackers because you can corrupt the tracking of the headset. But there is another interesting part. And these are the microphones, and we made sure that we use a high quality microphone inside with the both software and hardware anti-popping filters to make sure that the microphone sound is studio-like, and of course it's stereo, so there are two microphones, one on each side. So let's try and unmount those microphones to see what's inside. So here is the microphone, and you can see there is special foam and material to make sure that there is no popping happening inside the microphone. And here is the electronic flex cable going to the main board. So I will not undo the second one, and we will proceed to the mainframe where the optic is. So now we have got to a very interesting part. That's the main optical stack of VR1. That's the thing which we have built the VR1 around. That's the holy grail of our headset, where the quality of the image and all the properties, the main properties of the VR1, which are, above 130 degrees horizontal field of view, above 100 degrees vertical field of view, and of course incredible clarity and brightness of our optics. So this is the part which is the main one, and the whole headset is built around it. Now there are several interesting things inside of this part. For example, I can point out to the cloth, a special cloth which covers the back electronics and the back part of the headset from the front part, so that there is no dust or other particles coming into the headset. You can see it's flexible cloth. There is also the IPD adjustment mechanism. And as you can see, if I go here, as you can see, this is the cable which we disconnect from the main board, which was measuring and is measuring the distance between the lenses. So it tells you exactly the millimeters. This part here is doing exactly that. And when you slide with the button, it knows exactly where the lenses are at any given point of time. And here are the eye tracking cameras and the electronic flex cables, of course, with Somnium logos on both sides, which are coming from those cameras into the main board, into this thing for Somnium VR1. So what we'll do right now, we will take one optical stack from the main board to show you the size of the optical stack. When building VR1, we had only one main goal. We wanted to get the best possible visuals for virtual reality today. That meant that we didn't want to compromise on any visual part for the quality of image in VR1, and we were willing to opt for a little bit bigger size of our optical stack, but not to compromise any quality of image. So let's get started with this part. In order to do that, we need to unscrew several screws, 2 here and several more on the sides. So let's get started. Here you can see, as I took this part apart, you can see that there are those mechanism parts which are creating that clicky and firm sound for the VR1 IPD adjustment mechanism. It's very, very, very pleasant thing to do. Thanks to our optical stack qualities, the sweet spot of our lenses is so huge that it actually almost doesn't matter in which IPD position you have your lenses. My IPD, for example, is 64, and I can comfortably use headset anywhere from 62 to 67. I don't even feel the difference. In general, our IPD range is from 57 to 76 millimeters. It's one of the biggest IPD ranges for the VR headsets on the market. So let's proceed with other screws. So to fully disassemble and also unplug the cloth, we'll unscrew one more screw here. Very carefully, it jumps away from me. And now we can take away the holy grail optical stack of VR1. Let me put this aside for a second and look at that. Look at this size of the optical stack. This is the screen here. This is the screen, and there are dual aspheric lenses inside, meaning that 2 lenses looking at each other at a special distance and special angle, also specially angled towards the screen, making sure that we achieve the biggest non-distorted field of view on the market with the most clear image and the most bright image out there. This is incredible. My hands are almost shaking. And with that, and this frame, we have concluded the full teardown of Somnium VR1 headset. And I hope it was interesting to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. We have put a lot of effort with the team into the engineering, all of that, plus the assembly process. And we cannot wait for you to start using VR1s and experience this incredible image quality of this headset. So thank you very much. This is my last bits of thing. I take this head apart and say goodbye to you. Bye-bye.